Rank every compact tractor brand by how American the machine is under the paint. And the badge you trust the most does not finish first. It does not finish second either. The single most American machine on that lot wears a foreign name on the hood, and the green badge you came in trusting is not the winner. You are about to sign for $15,000 to $40,000 of tractor, and part of what you are paying for is a feeling. Green and American, and built a few states over. Here is what that feeling will not tell you. So forget the badge for a second. The real origin of the machine is not painted on the side. It is welded into the frame, bolted in with the engine, and stamped on a little metal plate at the dealership that nobody ever points to. Where it was assembled, whose engine is inside it, which country it clears customs from. We are going to read 8 of them, worst to best, least American to most. And every rung carries $1, because as of this summer, where your tractor was born stopped being a bumper sticker question and turned into a number the tariff writes onto your price. Number 8, at the very bottom, is the brand that looks the most American and turns out to be the least. Bobcat. Born in Gwinner, North Dakota, on every ranch and at every county fair for the better part of 60 years. If somebody asked you to draw American iron, you would draw a Bobcat. Now read the plate, because the North Dakota story falls apart the second you do. The compact tractor wearing that name today is built in South Korea by a company called Dae-Dong, and Bobcat itself has been owned by Doosan of South Korea since 2007. This is not a rumor off a forum. Farmers Weekly reported it straight when the tractors launched, that the Bobcat compacts are sourced to Dae-Dong in South Korea. Every bit of that Northern Plains image is real except the tractor underneath it, which is South Korean start to finish. And because its whole iron body was cut and welded overseas, the federal metal tariff rides on the entire machine. Hold on to that, because it is the meter running underneath this list. Number 7 is a name even older, and the same trick in a nicer suit. Massey Ferguson. More than a century of farming history, and the parent company, AGCO, flies an American flag from its headquarters in Duluth, Georgia. So you would assume the machine is American too. Walk down to the subcompact end of the lot, though, and the tractor tells a different story than the letterhead. That little Massey runs an Iseki engine, built in Japan, and the reference books list the whole drivetrain as Iseki. A GCO says in its own federal filing that it purchases some fully manufactured tractors from Iseki and Company, Limited of Japan. The parent may be American. The machine in front of you is not. Same metal tariff on it as the Bobcat, its whole steel body worked overseas, on a subcompact that starts around $18,000. If that sounds like the bottom of the barrel, keep watching, because at least the next one does not lie to you about it. Number 6, LS. Built by LS Mtron in South Korea, a Korean machine, Korean built and sold as nothing else. And LS never did the one thing every brand above it does. It never once printed the word American on the machine and charged you extra for it. No flag, no heritage speech, no apology. The metal tariff still lands when it clears the port, and on a value brand, that 15% lands right on top of the discount you drove there for. Say what you want about the badge. At least it is honest about where it was born. That was still round 1 though, because from here the foreign brands stop pretending and start showing up. Number 5, and this is where the list turns. Kioti. The tractor is Korean, built by that same Dae-Dong, no way around it. So the same 15% metal tariff rides on its imported iron, just like the LS. But Kioti has been selling to American buyers for more than 25 years. And it put down real roots doing it. A parts and assembly hub in Wendell, North Carolina. That matters to your wallet in a way the flag never will. When a hydraulic line lets go in the middle of a field with the light fading, the country that stamped the tractor means nothing to you. What matters is where the replacement part sits. And Kioti keeps it on a shelf in Wendell, instead of a container crossing the Pacific, so the wait is days instead of weeks. A Korean machine, yes. But unlike the imports below it, this one planted roots here you can drive to when a part breaks. Number 4. Mahindra. An Indian company, the largest tractor maker on the planet by volume, founded in India 80 years ago, and the engine is its own, designed and built in India. So far that reads like the basement of this list. But look at where the machine finishes its journey. Mahindra assembles its tractors on American soil, in Houston, Texas, and at plants in Michigan and Pennsylvania, from parts shipped over from India and Asia. It is an Indian tractor with an American final chapter, and that final chapter matters at the border. Everything Mahindra ships in from overseas gets taxed crossing the border, while the work of bolting it together in Texas carries no tariff at all. Finishing the machine on a Texas line does one concrete thing. It trims the metal tariff off the part of the tractor that was built here. Before the top 3, 2 things the dealer will not explain decide the rest of this list. And this is where good buyers get caught, because one sticker sounds like the whole answer. Assembled in USA, it is a real federal label with real rules, and a careful shopper is right to trust a government stamp. But the Federal Trade Commission reserves Made in USA for a machine that is, in its own words, all or virtually all built here, while assembled in USA asks only that the last substantial transformation happen on this soil. So a tractor cast and welded overseas can still wear assembled in USA on the fender, by the letter of the law. The metal tariff, though, knows the difference the sticker hides. It follows the steel, wherever that steel was cut and welded. Let me put the actual number on the table, because this is the part that turns a flag into a price. A compact tractor is a couple of tons of worked steel and iron. As of this summer, there is a 15% federal tariff on that imported metal, brought down from 25% back in June, and it runs on the books through the end of 2027. On a machine whose whole body was cut and welded overseas, that tariff rides on the iron of the entire tractor. A machine welded here dodges most of it, because that steel never crossed the border to be taxed. And somehow it gets worse for the import buyer, because the replacement parts cross the same ocean and pay the same metal tariff for as long as you own it. This is not small money. One farm equipment outlet tracked a high horsepower tractor that ran about $500,000 back in 2024 and runs closer to $645,000 today. And the jump is the tariff on the metal, not the tractor. Scale that down to a compact, and it is still thousands of dollars, riding on nothing but where the steel was worked. If you are the kind of person who flips the build plate before you sign, you are already ahead of most of that dealer lot. And if you want the next one read this way before you stand at that counter, subscribe. A different machine, the same plate pulled apart and its filings read. So do the next buyer a favor. Drop the brand you own and the country stamped on its plate down in the comments, above all if the plate caught you off guard. That list, built by owners on this exact question, is worth more than any brochure on the rack. By this summer, that same 15% metal tariff had settled onto every imported tractor on the lot, and the top 3 brands are where knowing the build plate starts to pay you back. Number 3, and the first genuine surprise on this list, Yanmar. That is a Japanese name, the same Japanese company whose engines sit inside half the machines we have already counted. And yet Yanmar assembles its own tractors on American soil. By its own published statement, these machines are, in its own words, assembled in the USA in Yanmar's Adairsville facility in Georgia. So here is the inversion that ought to stop you. A Japanese badge, an American assembly line, and a machine more American than a row of the names that sell themselves on the flag. The engine is Yanmar's own, Japanese through and through, so the metal tariff still bites on what comes in. But the assembly, the labor, the final build, all of it is Georgia. A foreign name doing more on American soil than the brands that only ever talk about it. Number 2, and if you drove to that lot for one badge, this is the one, John Deere, the greenest, most American-feeling name in all of farming. And I want to be fair to it. because Deere earns more of that feeling than any flag waver below it. Deere assembles its compact tractors in Augusta, Georgia, and has since 2013, a real plant with a real American assembly line and thousands of workers. But flip the plate and read the engine, because this is the part the green paint is counting on you to skip. The engine inside a John Deere compact is a Yanmar, built in Japan, and the spec sheet at Tractor Data names it model for model. So the most American-feeling badge on the lot buys the very same Japanese engine as the Yanmar badged tractor one rung below it. It just wraps more Georgia around the outside, and that Georgia steel is metal the tariff never touches. Real American assembly, a Japanese heart, and still, somehow, not the most American machine on this list. Which leaves the only question that matters. If not the green one, then who? The answer has been sitting on that lot the whole time, wearing a name plenty of shoppers on that lot write off as foreign the second they hear it. Number 1, the most American compact tractor you can buy wears a Japanese name. Kubota. Think about what that means for a second, because it is the whole point of this list. Kubota builds more of its machine on American soil than any other brand here. Its subcompacts are manufactured in Gainesville, Georgia. Its L-Series tractors are assembled up the road in Jefferson, Georgia. It welds, it fabricates, it bolts them together, and it employs more than 3,500 people in that one state doing it. The equipment trade press, quoting Kubota's own accounting, says about half of all Kubota branded equipment sold in the United States is manufactured or assembled in the state of Georgia. It opened another $190 million plant in Gainesville just to build loaders. Is the engine still from Japan? It is. No compact tractor in your price range has an all-American engine anymore, and anybody who tells you otherwise is selling you something. But on the thing you can measure, the steel, the welding, the assembly, the American jobs, the badge that builds the most tractor in this country wears a Japanese name, not the green one you drove in for. So walk back to that lot, paperwork on the hood, and do the 3 things the salesman will not do for you. First, find the build plate, the little metal tag on the frame, and read where the machine was assembled, not where the company keeps its flag. Second, ask one plain question and try to get it in writing. What country is the engine from? Watch a confident pitch turn into a shrug. And third, price it. Where the steel was cut and welded is worth thousands of dollars in metal tariff, and that money is either staying in your pocket or getting handed over for a decal. The flag on the hood is the easiest thing in this whole business to print, and the hardest thing to earn. So buy the build sheet, not the badge. That is the whole job here. Every brand that comes through gets its plate read, so nobody overpays for a decal. The most American machine on that lot never says a word about it. It is being welded together right now in Georgia, under a name you never would have guessed. Read the plate before you sign, and let the country take care of itself.